Right, now we're going to get into a bit of a warm-up, moving our pelvis in a way probably a lot of us don't do very regularly, but we're going to get into that pelvic tilt. So thinking about the top of your pelvis, okay, going forwards and then backwards, forwards and backwards. And again, thinking about that pubic bone and your coccyx kind of coming forwards and back, forwards and back. So just getting that nice little pelvic tilt under. This isn't about moving your body up forwards, it's trying to keep your body relatively still, and just moving forwards and under. And again, it might just be little movements to start with, particularly if you're quite stiff and you're guarding any of those places. And again, right, we'll get into a circle. So again, I'm not moving, a bit like a pigeon, you know, when they kind of move their head but not their body. But you're going to do that with your hips. So getting that movement, and you'll feel that warmth start to come just from doing these little circles. You might feel it in your thighs as well. And go in the other direction. And then we're going to do some figures of 8. So we're going to, and again, you can be quite exaggerated with these. So again, we're just getting a bit more movement through our rest of our body as well. Your feet are going to be going into pronation and supination just from going into these sort of movements. So again, that's that foot flattening and then arch coming back up again. Again, it's super important for our pelvic floor, for our feet to be able to do that. Again, go in the other direction. Again, you might feel a little silly, but it's fine. We're all learning. Everyone sucks to begin with. Okay, right. Now we're going to do a step forward and a step back. So you're just going to go forwards and back, forwards and back. And that pelvis is going to be sort of moving in this direction, so different directions. And again, this foot is staying exactly where it needs to be, going forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. Change sides, forwards, backwards, forwards. And you might have some differences each side. That's absolutely fine. Forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards. Right, legs out a bit wider. So we're going to, basically, we're going to reach down towards that toe. So we're getting a nice stretch on the inner thighs here. And then we're going to reach across our body like so. So sit that bum back and then reach over. Sit that bum back, reach over. So what I mean by sit bum back is if you're going to sit your bum on a chair and then reach over. Sit back, reach over. One more on this side. So we're starting to get a bit warm now. Reach down towards that toe and then lift that heel off the ground to get a nice length over to our fingertips down to our foot. So getting a nice inner thigh stretch, reaching over. 2 and 1. Okay, now we're going to get into a squat. So when we're thinking about the heels of our pelvis, those sit bones, think about your elbows being the bottom of your pelvis. Okay, so when you come into a squat, you want your sit bones out, sit bones in, sit bones out, sit bones in, sit bones out, sit bones in. And I want you to think about your feet as well. So you've got the kind of tripod of the base of your big toe, little toe, and your heel, okay? I don't know why I was like, show you my foot. I can't hold it for dear life. So I want you to think about as you're pressing through, so you come down, sit bones out, sit bones in, really pushing through your tripod to really generate some force up through the chain, getting those glutes working. Sit bones out, sit bones in, sit bones out, sit bones in. Okay, lovely. Right, that's your warm up. So we're going to put these squats into practice for our first move. So we've got 5 moves, okay? You're going to need a resistance band for the majority of the moves, but the first one we're going to do without any equipment, okay? And you can do this with a chair if you need to. But we're just going to do a squat, but we're going to reach forward as we do so and pull back at the top, okay? Inhale, sit bones out. Exhale, squeezed, come back. But again, make sure you're relaxing at the top of that movement. A lot of the time you'll get cued to sit bones out, squeeze your glutes at the top. We don't want to do that. We want the squeezing to happen at the bottom of the movement to drive you up, and then relax at the top. We don't need that extra squeeze at the top. We're just getting tension when we don't need it. So again, reach forward and back. Reach forward and back. And again, reaching forward just helps us to keep our body in that bit more neutral position. We're not sort of reaching down to come up like so. We want that bum to go down and back up again. Well done. Okay, have a little rest here. Okay, so our next one, we are going to use our resistance band. So I want you to get rid of the tension everywhere else in your body. Again, think about your tripod in your feet, nice soft knees. We're going to bring our resistance band about shoulder width apart, okay? And then we're going to inhale to prepare, and then exhale, pull apart. And again, I'm trying to keep my ribs stacked over my hips. I'm not kind of going like that. Again, this is strengthening your arms, your back, getting the back moving, strong. Again, the pelvic floor doesn't work in isolation. But again, with that exhale, with that movement, you're going to feel your pelvic floor lift up a little bit. Naturally, because its job is to manage intra-abdominal pressure to stabilize your spine, okay? So, one more time. Brilliant. Lovely. Okay, now we're going to do a nice core exercise, but ordinarily you might be taught this to attach this to your door to do, we call it a Pallof press. Now I quite like doing it in a, just using your body, because often we don't always have somewhere to anchor it. But actually a lot of the time when we get unstable in certain movements is because a part of our foot comes out of contact with the ground. And so this is a really great way to kind of get you to really press into, when the resistance band's coming up, your big toe has to keep it there. If that weight came out of your foot, then you might find that the band will slip out, okay? But what we're going to do is we're going to kind of lean into this side, okay? And then we're going to bring our resistance band towards our chest, and then we're going to press it forward and then come back. And you might find you can just breathe normally through this, okay? A lot of the time, if you're holding your breath for a movement, it's because you're just used to doing that. So just try and find some nice regular breathing through a movement. Again, normally the rule of thumb is to exhale on exertion or exhale on the most effort. But you might find if it's a quick movement that you can't always do that. So again, just regular breathing is always your best friend. Breath is your best friend. Okay, and 2, 1, brilliant. Now we're going to go the other side. So I'm popping that resistance band underneath my foot. I'm lunging into that side, bringing, and again, I don't want a floppy resistance band here. I want a decent amount of tension, okay? So bring it up towards your chest again and go. Really good. And you'll feel your core working. Again, try not to hold tension where it's not needed. Again, try not to get those shoulders up by your ears. Keep them down. Keep going. Again, find your regular pace of breathing. In 2, 1, Brilliant. Okay, right. We're going to go down on the ground. So good old glute bridge. Love a glute bridge. But we're going to get the our back muscles in on the party too. Okay, so we're getting the whole of the posterior chain. So all your back muscles, your glute muscles and your hamstrings kind of all working. Often these muscles tend to get weaker, particularly if we're more sedentary or we're, particularly if you're postpartum, those muscles tend to get a bit weaker and they tend to stay weaker if we don't train after them. But generally, if we are being less sedentary, or we are more sedentary, sorry. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our resistance band above our chest, like so. And when we drive into our glute bridge, we're going to pull that resistance band down past our hips, and then we're going to drive our hands down towards the ground. So you've got the resistance of the band against your hips. So your hips and your glutes have to work a bit harder, and your arms have to work a bit harder too to kind of get your hands down to the ground. Inhale up, exhale, pull down. Inhale, sit bones out. Exhale, sit bones in. Sit bones out, relax your pelvic floor, relax your glutes, squeeze to contract. Again, often people hold tension as they go back down again. Just let it go at the bottom. Really good. And it's amazing how much you can get, with just a resistance band, getting quite a lot of your muscles working in one movement. Again, the idea isn't to go right up onto your shoulders. You want to keep your shoulder blades in contact with the ground. 2 and 1. Well done. Okay, coming up. So our last exercise. Okay, this is just a quick one just to kind of give you a flavour of all the ways that we can train our pelvic floor. So being able to absorb impact, again, if you go running or anything like that, often that's when people tend to leak, and we then avoid those movements. But we need to bring them back into our routines and train our body to be able to absorb force through our foot. Absolutely need to work on your feet if they are, if we've got a small surface area, that's a lot more impact that comes up the chain. So we would need a nice, good wide base in our feet to be able to do that. But what we're going to do now is that we're going to imagine that we're going to go for a run and we're going to stamp on something and come back, okay? And we're going to do half one side and then half the other side for the time. So when you're ready, in 2, 1, and go. So jump, and it's that deceleration. So you're stopping yourself, coming back, okay? Well done. Coming back. And again, use that exhale as you land. You get that natural recoil of your pelvic floor. Well done. 6 more seconds. Staying on this one side. And then we'll do the other side for 30 seconds. And rest there. Okay, and then we'll do the other side when you're ready, and go. So again, the opposite arm is kind of coming forward, like as if you were running. Use that exhale. Keep going. In 2, 1. Lovely. Right, now we're going to cool ourselves down. So we're going to come down onto all fours. Now you might, you've probably done this loads of times. So this is cat-cow. And again, cat-cow is so nice because it actually really likes to naturally contract our pelvic floor, okay, and relax it at the same time. So when we come into this cow, those sit bones are out, okay, and then as we push through our arms and come up into cat, our sit bones come together. Then we're going to add in that breath. So inhale, open your sit bones. Exhale, sit bones together. Inhale, sit bones apart. Exhale, sit bones together. Inhale, apart and together. And then we'll do those circles. And again, this always gets everyone giggling or feeling silly, but please don't. It's just a really great way to kind of get our spine and our hips moving. And going the other way. So imagine you've got like a paintbrush coming out your bum and you're just trying to create a big circle, paint a big circle on the wall behind you. Lovely. Okay, then we're going to sit back and really think about those, your sit bones again in this position. Again, you're sticking your bum up into the air a little bit. And because you've got your legs sort of underneath your belly, when you take your deep breath in, really sort of think about opening up through your pelvic floor, that breath going down into your pelvic floor, and thinking about your holes getting bigger. So you're breathing into your holes, okay? So when you're ready, take a deep breath in. And then exhale. Again, if it doesn't feel nice being down here, it makes you feel a bit nauseous or having your head, you can come up onto your elbows and do the same. If that feels better. Try and don't sort of sink down into your shoulder, try and keep them away. Breathing into your holes and then exhale. Lovely. Doing this breathing just helps your heart rate to come down. Well done, really good. Lovely. Coming up onto your bum. I really like doing this one. It's a really nice sort of hip mobilizer, but you can do this in your warm-ups for your workouts or anything like that. But just having your hands beside you, feet out from the mat, and you can do this seated and you can do this laying down as well if you wanted to. So just going from one side, you might find that you kind of wriggle in the room a little bit. That's also fine. Because actually a lot of movements that we do, particularly like in yoga and in strength training, are all about external rotation, but we need to get a little bit more internal rotation. So that's when our thigh comes in like so. In 2, 1, bring your feet together. Again, just have a little butterfly of those knees. And then good old diaphragm also needs a bit of love too. So we're going to cross our legs, okay? And we're going to reach over, okay? Thinking about that, if you've got your bra strap here, okay? We're going to inhale and then exhale, come back. And then we're going to inhale, reaching up, almost like reaching up that bra strap up towards the sky, expanding, exhale. Now we're going to do it the other way. So when we inhale to begin, exhale, reach over. We get a bit more of a stretch on that diaphragm in this position. Inhale to come back to center. Exhale over. Lovely. Now I'm going to do it the other way. Exhale, then inhale over. Getting that expansion. And inhale. Then inhale to start. And then exhale over. And you are done. Well done. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the Lean On Me month. Thank you so much. Take care and goodbye.